Order, will you please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got us live and going.
Yep.
Right, and all members are here except Brian Shea. And we have two items to remove from the agenda this morning. We're going to remove 2G and 3B. Everybody have a chance to review the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Belt and a second by Wickman to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. All right, first up, we have Adam Stamp, Dan Hansen, and Steve Meek, Potawatomi County Fair Association Board. Board of Supervisors presentation of a check to the Pot County Fair Association. We have a check.
Adam, Matt, or Adam, Dan, or Steve, you guys want to just give a real quick, brief update on where you're at, and then come on up and we'll provide you your funding.
Let's pull that podium around. I'm gonna read on something. I can do it from wherever you want me to. From there. That's good. So we made a little progress. We've been in touch with an electrical company, Power Tech, and we've had them out a couple times, gone through some things in terms of infrastructure as far as planning what we want to do. Obviously, once we started the ball rolling, we had to get through fair, which is sort of our priority this summer. Want to get through fair. Now we've got that behind us. We're moving forward with our infrastructure improvements for this year. So we're working with them on what our next steps are. We're in the planning stages with them right now. We haven't started digging any holes yet, per se. We're trying to tie together what we're doing with them and Mid-American, making sure that we're working cohesively there. So we're doing that. At the same time, Dan's working with trying to tie together the money that you guys have donated to make sure that we're tying that together with some other grants. He's secured some money from Farm Credit already. 25 was that, Dan, I think, from Farm Credit. They've matched. So we've leveraged that money, and I know that he's applied to some other grants as well. So we're trying to leverage that money up and increase that funding. So we appreciate all you guys have done and try and use it wisely as possible.
Bid-Am want to throw in some in the pot.
What's that?
Bid-Am should throw some in the pot.
Dan, get on the phone.
One phone call. Well, this fulfills our commitment to the fair. The fair is $125,000. So everybody that's here from the fair board, come on up. We'll take a real quick picture. And Janet, will you be able to take care of that?
Yep.
Come on down, let's go right down in the well here.
But don't stand in front of Susan Peach.
Okay.
Come on down. No.
I think we got room for all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Stand back here somewhere.
Right here.
How about right here? Okay.
Listen, we got food truck.
Something like this.
I think,
Find a window, Dan.
yeah,
There you
either
go.
that way or that way. There you
Or how
go.
about if I
No, you're fine.
Oh,
Jeff.
you're right.
fine.
You're good.
You're
I'll
fine.
Or
Ready?
Thank you, Janet. Mitch?
take that down to American National?
Make sure to do that.
You guys hold it and do one without us in it.
Okay.
Dan, one more. Without it.
Bring that up a little bit there. There you go, Adam.
Yeah.
Your last food truck night is the 19th.
Perfect. Yeah, it'll be the 19th and got a lot of.
Don't take off until you get the real one.
They won't take that?
Can we deposit
Yes, yes. Doesn't copy it for any.
Oh, I think we ought to put that up
I think
somewhere.
Absolutely.
we-
Absolutely, we want that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Appreciate it very much.
Stay in touch.
Oh, absolutely. We will.
Stay in touch. How you doing? Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Keep us posted.
Appreciate it. You gonna come up with?
We're gonna such good tape next year.
I don't know, rubber check, that's kind of a bad, you know, if that one started.
We won't give you a problem.
You could kind of pitch. Okay, right. We'll hang that up. All right,
Thanks, everybody.
thank you all.
Next, we have Rick Killian, Marketing President, Derek Holdberg, Vice President, Commercial Lending, and Amy Olson, Senior Vice President, Treasury Management, American National Bank, discussion and/or decision on positive pay. And I know we've had this on the agenda before, and we had more questions. And we've got Heather, the treasurer's office here, so chime in at any time, Heather, if there's questions you have. Turn it over to you guys.
Thanks, Susan. Again, I'm Rick Killian, and I'm Market President for American National Bank. With me today is Derek Polberg, Vice President, Commercial Banking, and Amy Olson, our Senior Vice President, Treasury Management. In my role this morning, just simply to thank you, the board, for our relationship, our banking relationship that we've had with the county for many years now. Again, we're gonna kind of go a quick little overview. Appreciate the opportunity to do a quick little overview, again, of all of the accounts and the number of accounts that we have with the county and the great relationship we have with the staff, especially, Mitch, Kai and Lee Voss, treasurer. We really appreciate working with them. And when there's questions, we try to, be able to answer those. But first, I'm going to have Derek do a quick little overview of some highlights and a little financial update before Amy gets more into some the nuts and bolts. So,
Yeah, so good morning, supervisors. I'll cover pages basically 4 through 7. Mr. Hanson, our president, wishes he could be here, so this is usually his job, so I will cover in his shoes for a quick update on all things A and B. So slide 4, if you're not familiar, American National Bank has a storied 160-year history spanning southeast Nebraska, southwest Iowa, and most recently in the last decade, the Minneapolis Twin Cities area, primarily held by two families in Omaha, the Katosh family and the Logier family. You can see kind of on the graph on the right, just our 5-year performance from 2019 to 23. One thing I'd like to point out, total deposits, as many of you are aware, our good buddies at Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank had some troubles in the last couple of years, and you can see total deposits increasing. So while a lot of banks struggled with liquidity, you can actually see A&B was a pillar of success in that market, sustaining stability and bringing in actually deposits over the course of that time. Flipping over to page 5, you just got some soundness and stability updates there. I won't go into the safety ratings, but you can look at those on page 7. I would like to point out we did receive excellent safety ratings from a few big third party, one of those being Forbes this year, S&P Global, who is a leader in kind of market analysis, and then the American Bankers Association. So it's not only me touting our safety and soundness, but third parties who vet us every year as well. Stable investments, I know from a portfolio management perspective, kind of back to SVB and Signature, we mark our portfolio to market every month. So there's never a large accumulation of, call it net losses, that are accruing anywhere on the balance sheet. So those are brought to market every month. So we don't have anything there from a risk perspective. Priorities. being privately held, we don't have to make short-term decisions to appease shareholders on a quarterly earnings call. So we can keep kind of that long, stable focus, knowing that obviously return to shareholders is great, but we're going to keep the long term and our clients first and foremost in top of mind. And then community bank, if you flip over to page 6, we are a proud community bank. Every year we donate over 7 figures back to Southeast Nebraska, Southwest Iowa, and Minneapolis. I do know within the million last year, I pulled some numbers quick. Pot County received over 6 figures of that number. Some of the big ones, Charles E. Lakin Campus, Early Childhood Learning Center, which was a 6-figure donation, Pace Building, and then 28 other Southwest Iowa nonprofits were a part of that 6 figures that were right here back in Southwest Iowa. So with that, any questions on American National Bank history updates? Happy to field them.
You want to get some, fair, get some money to.
East Pot, we, I don't know if we did.
No, I don't think we did any funding for East Pot County Fair.
How about West Pop there?
Oh, yeah. They're sponsored West Fair.
And with that, I guess I will turn it to Amy for the nuts and bolts of the presentation.
Yes, so I'm Amy Olson. I head up the Treasury Management Sales Group for the Nebraska, Iowa region, and also manage the Potawatomi County relationship for the Treasury and deposit side. I've been here before. I presented a lot of data. I this year decided to present it in a little bit different way. So I did it by division. So we have a page in the packet per division. I'm showing who has control over the resolution authority, accounts, and then who are the signers on the accounts, as well as the treasury services that the accounts are enrolled in, including the positive pay piece, so we can talk through the positive pay. Each one is designed the same way. So the treasurer and auditor, the online administrator, of course, is Lee Voss. Resolution authority is laid out. Resolution authority means that you have the power to open and close an account, sign into treasury management services, or authorized who can be signers on the account. So I tried to clearly lay that out for each of the different accounts and divisions. The treasurer and auditor are combined to some degree. So we do have a separate resolution listed on the auditor's accounts, and I highlighted those as well. The treasury and auditor accounts are they're enrolled for the positive pay fraud services. Did you want me to do a quick what are fraud services? What is positive pay? Or
I think that's the main reason you're here.
yep, okay.
Big question,
Yep. So our
how that's charged.
Yep. So our fraud services are designed to protect the account. It's on 2 sides. So you have things coming in via check, clearing the account, and also via ACH, clearing the account. So there's 2 services that combine to make our fraud services. The positive pay is the check side. So when the checks are issued, that check issue file is uploaded to the bank. It includes the date, check number, amount, and who it's payable to. As those items are presented to the bank, it's crossed against that check issue file to validate that that was a legitimate check. Anything that doesn't match goes out to an exception portal, and then the item is reviewed and decision to pay or return. And you can also see an image of the item when you're making that decision.
General Becky will do that every check, correct?
Check for.
Yeah, you look for that. Yeah.
And there's a notice goes out that if there's any exceptions, 2 of them actually, early in the morning and then mid-morning, to make sure that those are reviewed in decision.
Those are checks that we are providing out, or
Yep.
those checks, they're not checks we're receiving.
That's correct. These are
Okay.
checks that you
They're
are
generated.
issuing.
Okay.
Yep,
Perfect.
yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then conversely, we have ACH, blocks and filters, and it's the same concept, but it's for your electronics. So if you've authorized Mid-America to auto draft your account, you would be able to authorize those as a whitelisted company. Anything that's trying to hit the account that you have not whitelisted creates an exception in the same portal to be review and decisioned. The charge in most all of the treasurer accounts that are enrolled, and the two on here that aren't enrolled are money market accounts, very low risk. You're not issuing checks on those money market or ICS accounts. The charge is $50 per account and 8 cents per check item. And that is rolled up in your thing.
Flag,
Nope, it's $50 a month and then 8 cents per every check item that clears through the account, because it's doing the match.
for every check that goes.
Yes, yep,
through your-
8 cents, yep. Yeah. The billing structure, and I did include it on here, there's some accounts that are grouped. So the treasurer, like main accounts, those are grouped together in a charge thing. And some other accounts kind of sit independently, and those are just charged at that account level.
Each account is charged $50.
Yes, sir. Yep.
You've got 3 accounts?
Yes.
Did she say 4?
Auditor has,
We have 3, or, well, Becky, but you, is there just 3 for payroll?
Chief, that's what was on our list. I believe so, there was for insurance and.
Yeah.
So it's $50, $50
Okay.
one of those. Additional outside of what's under the treasurer.
Right.
Right.
So groups,
two.
3, if I remember right, what she presented 2 weeks ago was, there were 3 accounts that uses, we can find those again. Insurance, one, work comp,
And flex, I
and
believe.
flex account.
I believe.
I also have one that is coded as ACH account that's under auditors. It's on page 8, 4th account number down. So health insurance, flex, deferred comp, and then there's an auditor's office ACH account is part of title.
Right.
And the other two, Mr. Hauser, are listed on page 15, because they're not part of the online kind of package. They don't sit on that account, so I separated those a little bit.
Flex account. So did we come up with 3 or 4?
4.
Okay.
Yep, 2 on page 8, 2 on page 15.
You provide a standard service to all your customers for fraud, right?
Yes, sir.
What more does this positive pay program provide the county that your standard service doesn't?
This is the fraud protection service, and the county is utilizing it. So any way an item is presented to the bank, whether that is coming in from a check that was deposited at another bank and it's coming in the cash letter, if a check is presented at our teller line, if an ACH is presenting on the account, your accounts that have fraud services, the positive pay and blocks and filters are protected. And it's important. The Nebraska AFP that ran, or not the Nebraska, the national AFP that ran their fraud study for 2023, 65% of organizations were either victim of or attempted fraud. So this is the best and most secure decision to utilize fraud protection services.
Is a personal bank account provided fraud protection?
We do not offer fraud services like this where we're monitoring every item presented to the account on your personal account. And I'm not the expert on the consumer side, but we could get you more information if you'd like that.
They have like what's standard, right? If you don't have fraud protection, I guess when a check presents, what takes place, right? There's
It
not
would
a,
clear the account.
correct.
Yeah,
that
there
makes
is
sense.
no, without fraud services to automate the validation of items clearing through the account, the item would just present to the account and clear. And then you'd have to work on the backside through a fraud affidavit to try to do any kind of recovery.
Bank, on a personal.
Yes, sir. But I do want to point out that the rules and regulation are different for a business compared to a consumer. The CFPB, the consumer protection piece of it, the rules are different from them as they are for a business. So on a business account, you really, if there was a fraud item hit the account without using fraud protection services, we only have 24 hours to return it back to the bank that of first deposit. Consumer accounts have more flexibility. There's more consumer protection laws around than there is on a business. Does that answer your question at all, Mr. Whitman?
Kind of. We're being provided that too. Plus the positive pay part of it. I mean, where does one level stop and the other level pick up? Or is there two levels?
There's really not.
There's not,
Well, just be levels between personal and business. That's it. Sounds like.
there's risk. If you don't have additional protection like positive pay, that, unless you're going online and you're, monitoring, every check that's going through your own account, I mean, that's your only protection. Cause if it's a valid check going through the system, it's gonna go and clear through your account. So, there's nothing more that the bank, is doing to, double check if that is a fraudulent check or not, if that's answering your question.
Well, you're getting there. Let's leave that. And how many accounts do we have that are in the positive pay arena?
For the treasurer and auditor, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 accounts are enrolled in fraud services.
Is there any other department that needs it?
I actually have a page for each of the departments.
Okay.
So the recorder, I provided the same information, who is the administrator who has a resolution. There's a single account. It is not enrolled in treasury or in fraud services. The recorder is not. That's page 9.
Yeah, and Brandenburg is not here.
I'm sorry.
Mark Brandenburg.
I will follow up on that later today.
What was the volume of,
You see that as that?
here? How many checks do you have, or the volume numbers by chance?
I'm sorry, I did not bring that. I can follow up on it if it's something that you'd like me to come back with.
I think this was very, very few, and I think his checks only go down to the treasurer's office, so he was kind of not knowing if he necessarily needed it for his account in particular, since the volume was so small and it was all internal.
Well, if I understand this right, positive pay is, there's a level of fraud protection.
Yes, sir.
Can you give me an example where this came into play, part of the county, county assets?
There was a fraud attempt in, I believe it was March of this year.
How did that work out? What was it?
Do you remember the
think
details on it?
the bank that this person tried to deposit the check through didn't let it go because they thought it was suspicious because it was such a large amount.
It was like 175,000. It was
So they
it
stopped
was the
it there.
payment for the plumbing and equipment for the snowmaking. We hired that outfit to redo our snowmaking on at ski hills. There was $175,000 check. Somebody got a hold of it and erased the name, put their name in it.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, down in Arizona, I think.
They,
And,
they did,
that bank happened to catch it.
luckily that bank that where they tried to cash it stopped it. So it did not go through.
And then that situation is what prompted the usage of the fraud services. That's when we enrolled the accounts.
Okay, Amy, so we determined that the recorder probably doesn't need it.
Okay.
What other accounts do we have?
Page 10 is conservation. Conservation has 2 accounts. They too do not utilize fraud services at this time.
They might.
Have you talked to Jeff?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't seen this list until today too, so.
Okay,
Amy
so
and Mark Shoemaker retired.
Okay, I thought he was either retiring or retired. I'll reach out to Jeff to have the user renamed.
Yeah, so because they have a checking account for like, all the cash and everything they take in and a different rental, and then they have to turn around and write a check back and deposit it back in through the treasurer's office. Yes.
then the sheriffs,
Yep, sheriff is the next. The 2 main accounts for the sheriff are enrolled. And the sheriff is actually doing something unique, different than the treasurer. We have a secure FTP line set up, and they deliver their check issue file through that instead of uploading it through the online portal. It just makes it a little more efficient, but yes, they are utilizing on the main accounts.
and FTP is,
It's a secure transfer protocol, file transfer protocol. It's like a secure folder that sits on a host between the two, right? Between the bank and between the sheriff's department, and creates a secure channel of which to share information.
special deputies, they don't, are their funds accounted for with the auditor?
How about the
They do have a separate tax ID number,
Okay.
but they're under the umbrella, so I included some information. And to point out, that second account is a savings account, so there's only one checking account, but they are not using fraud services. Clerk of court, they are utilizing it. They're to a separate tax ID number.
Well, we're not paying for that.
No, it's its own. Yeah, it sits on its own. And then the assessor, not utilizing it, it also is a separate tax ID number that sits on its own. No, you don't.
What's that additional account?
Yep, then there's 4 accounts that, so when I looked at how to group together, I grouped via the online kind of conduit account. There are 4 accounts that are not sitting on any online portal. 2 of them are the auditors. There is a sheriff account, and then a money market account is that seizure account. And I put on who has control of those as well. I'm sorry.
Jeff Dankers.
Hey, it's a good thing you went through this.
Okay, who? That's the sheriff.
Amy, while you're updating signature cards,
Yes, ma'am.
Penny Rablin is retiring.
Which, I'm sorry, which did it assessor?
So we have about 14 accounts in there. Altogether.
Oh, I didn't count them, but
We said 9 with them and
not including the separate tax ID numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, or,
we're at $50 a month for each account, that $700 a month. Do we have an average of what it costs us per month to?
we do,
have
we do have some of the accounts are on waived. That
On what?
preceded me on a waived for the fees. So some of those limited use, so there's a couple of the treasurer accounts that are limited use accounts that we're not charging service charge for, and that included the fraud services. I can lay that out for you in a grid if you'd like to see it, and what the last service charge was. We have the recorder waived it's a very limited use. One of the auditor accounts is waived. I think when the decision was made to put on the waivers, it was on those very limited use accounts. So there is so when you're thinking of just times and, the $50 a month by the number of accounts, there are some that aren't being charged at all.
The accounts with little activity.
Yeah.
How many are getting?
Mhm.
Maybe you can take your time to figure that out, Amy, and send that to us.
Okay.
Just, you just have some kind of an idea of what it actually costs, and it's not that, trying to, cut costs and not do it, I just like to know what it costs.
Okay. So I can lay that out.
So Heather, you get a statement at the end of each month that breaks that out for you?
Mhm.
And then do you guys treat that as,
It's a service fee, is what we call it on our
interest?
on our
Is
end.
that how you swap that out or not?
What's that?
They actually make a payment to you.
What about it?
Earned credits, sure. So do you actually write a check back to American National for those?
No, we have the
Just-
line item to use
They just reduce.
out
it
of the
off
general fund, and then we just put it on there
Okay.
in each account, and it's the motor vehicle and treasurers.
Just
Chain checking.
reduce by what their benefits.
Cause there's other fees besides the
Yeah.
50.
There's something generated at the end of each month that shows.
Correct. Right, yeah,
transparent.
and there's a statement
Yeah,
that's separate from the bank statement
Yeah.
too.
So, Heather, whose budget gets charged for those costs? Is that
It's the
yours?
general, it's ours, comes out of the general and then ours also. Our, part of our line item.
is that then a yearly thing that we renew this positive pay or it just goes on?
No,
until
yeah, you would be
something
enrolled
some-
until a decision was
new-
made to
something new comes
unenroll.
along That's newer and better. That kind of how it works.
Yeah, you would be enrolled until, at which time you would unenroll, which would be contractual. It would
So-
be a signature to unenroll on it.
It changes within the pricing structure, then you bring it back or notify us that
Yes, sir.
that's gonna go up. Go down.
Or if technology changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
And there aren't any accounts that we have today that we don't have positive pay on that you would recommend that we would add it?
I think that it could be reviewed. So the packet shows each division and whether the account's enrolled or not. Such as like when we talked about the recorder, should it or shouldn't it? Part of it's depending on how the account is utilized. But I tried to provide that very clearly in the packet. So if there are others that should be enrolled, we can definitely do that. We, of course, would recommend every account to be enrolled in fraud services because
Right.
it's the highest level of protection. But there certainly is cases where it doesn't justify the cost. If, such as recorder, they're only passing checks between recorder and treasurer, then that would.
That one almost sounds
Yeah.
like one of them that should be a freebie, I would say. If you got
On the
something-
limited use, yeah. If you have some that you want to enroll that,
So if
That we
if we
could.
can do that, we can do that, I mean, why wouldn't we?
just enroll it and have the
Yeah.
bank waive it. Well, there's cost to the bank to offer the service, so
No,
we
but
don't
I'm
want to
just-
just kind of go
We
forward
got
with it.
something like that,
We can definitely
Yeah.
discuss
Do
that.
that.
yeah. Checks he generates.
But you did say that some of the accounts have so few checks go through them, you don't charge for it.
Correct.
They were on grandfathered waves.
Grandfather?
Like they've been on a wave since before my time.
Oh,
For a number of years.
Katosh's grandfather?
okay, so are we to the point where we'll have Mitch work with either Rick or Amy or Derek on any accounts that may or may not be?
Yeah, no, I'll reach out to the departments here too, that I kind of got a list of what accounts are out there and see if If they think they have a need, kind of get more of a background of what their situations are. Work from there, make sure.
Are all the department heads up to speed and what this entails? That you know?
Probably not. I mean, I think this is,
Well,
this is the starting of the conversation.
Ability to write checks.
And I'm sure Heather's got documented procedures that she could share with any of them. If they need to add or decide to add to the list, they can have procedures to start with.
We're happy to do training as well. So we'll, any of the departments that are issuing a check file will need to, help them get that check file mapped and uploaded into the bank. And so we'll help with any additional enrollments from a training perspective too.
Plus, this has given us the opportunity, with you to update, who are the authorized individuals on each of these accounts too, with retirements and such.
How did the VA don't write checks, do they?
If they do, they might have a separate one that I'm not aware of.
I wouldn't think they would, but. That's find out.
The general assistance might be one you'd want to look at.
That'd be Suzanne.
Yeah.
Are they banking? There, are they?
Yeah, for the general assistance is all county money.
Right. I didn't see her in this.
But it's a small amount.
Yeah, it's.
Not very much.
Probably
I
doesn't.
don't know. I've been giving out $500 quite a bit lately for
Yeah.
rent and stuff almost every month now.
And those might
Sorry,
flow through the
1,500,
treasurer's
2,000.
accounts, just through the general fund
Okay.
line, not be issued out of its own checking account.
Okay.
I guess,
Sure, but she issued quite a few this year, it seems like, more so than we have in the past.
So Mitch, you're best positioned to determine, where this is be put to use and what accounts not to be, that is needed. I mean, who makes these determinations?
but I think just kind of reviewing with all the people that have different accounts open to see what their need is, and just what I think really the volume of it's gonna be the important part, and where the checks are going to. If the checks are going out to the general public, they need to have the positive pay on it, because it's too easy to duplicate a new checking account number from the check itself. So, I mean, if they're just staying internal or just going to the state, not in the mail, then they probably don't need it. So that'd be my suggestion on it.
So there's no board action required today for positive pay.
Well, just what the first question was that we had a couple of weeks ago is how are we going to pay that? Now, in the treasurer's case, those accounts are interest accruing, and that positive pay fee is just drawn off of that account because there's money in it. But those accounts that we have are not interest bearing. The only money that's in those accounts are immediately paid out, correct?
Well, they should have, give us some history on those accounts, what kind of balances they do carry, and then come back and tell us if either there's a fee involved.
Well, there's always going to be a fee. It's where there's enough money in the account to pay the fee.
Right.
And that's why we're asking to take it out of the board's line item.
You don't know what that is yet.
We know what the fees are.
Well, not if it's got some interest coming back.
Well, we can,
Heather, are all, do you
if there's
pay,
$50 a month of interest accruing on those three accounts.
What kind of balances do they carry?
They're really,
Payroll's gotta be a big number.
Well,
See, we already do this with some other process of, that the board pays for something.
Some news is because we got.
What?
they're really zero balance. Comes out, the
Yeah.
employees checking, checks going out. That's why.
There's zero balance.
So they end up being, all the money that goes into those accounts gets paid out immediately to the flex and to the workers' comp. So even though they take the large balance in, the balance goes out immediately. So they carry a very small average balance, even though they have a big influx from time to time. So that's why I think their issue is the $50 a month does not, or the interest, because it's only there for a short period of time, doesn't pay that amount of that fee. So basically, they're always kind of working negative towards what the zero balance is.
Yeah,
So
should see some history on that to make sure that's what it is. I mean, that's what it should be. too. And then how about the health side, those accounts? Is that going out, where does it comes in?
that's my understanding, but I don't see the bank statements on those in particular.
Okay.
Well, the bank doesn't bill each department separately. You send one bill for this service to the treasurer.
We could.
Or
Yeah,
you
if
don't.
you-
How do you
we-
do it now?
There, it's at the account level. Each account is for the majority is running independently. There's 3 accounts that are tied together in the treasurer's group for fees. But if that would be the directive that you want, we could direct the fees for each of the accounts to a specific lead account. Systematically, we can accommodate that for sure.
Send it all to the treasurer.
We
I
could.
don't want to pay any payroll.
Pardon me?
I don't want to pay any payroll fees. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not paying their fees out of my line item.
It'd just be an expense, because we'd actually get the bill, so we just
Well,
pay
it's
it out of our
pretty,
line.
But you know, it's,
That's an internal thing we gotta get solved now.
pretty liquid with these guys. It's all general. So
when we figure out what it costs us per month per
we're just trying to
account.
figure out the easiest way to do it.
There's plenty of room in the auditor's budget to pay it, so.
Well, we'd have to create a line item, I suppose, just to pay the fees.
Well, how have you been paying it, Melvin?
We haven't, or have we?
Well, there's right now, they're kind of being involved with the interest that was in there.
Yeah,
But I mean, eventually,
it's gonna outmatch the interest that we are accruing. And we'll be down to zero. We'd have to create another line item. to
Amy,
pay
analyze that
fees.
account for us and.
Out of the general fund, I presume. We'll pay that.
We can
We
definitely.
can get you that information.
Well, if you have 2 accounts, Melvin, they generate $600 a year apiece in fees. Plus the 8 cents
No,
a
it's
check.
not a lot, but it's,
And, you know, we can certainly find that in your budget, I'm sure.
we'd create a new line item, but we thought it would be easier because we're already using a board's line item to pay for
like your life, the life.
life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, some of these other, functions that the board's paying. So we were just gonna, use that same line item to pay these fees. But I suppose we can create another line item and just, pay them that way.
Well, we want it, we just need you to give us the analytics behind it.
Yep.
We'll figure out that piece.
Okay, so my takeaways, we have several cleanup of authorized individuals to work through, and then a full report in the same structure, each account, what the fees are historically on that account, the monthly analysis fee. And then I'll make a note that positive pay is part of that. And then also the handful that we have that have a full waiver on them, I'll identify as well. Any additional questions?
We don't have a check.
Do you want to take my picture? I do also have a summary of your card program. Mitch had inquired about who has authorization on that. So the card overview, just a kind of snapshot of the number of cards that are in the program, spend, decline transactions, and kind of what constitutes those declines. So you had an idea. And then just the program overview, who has overarching and who has per division authority on the online piece. And the card program sits completely separate from the accounts.
Thank you.
Yep, any additional questions that I can answer? Okay.
lots of accounts.
Well, like Rick said, we're very appreciative of the business and certainly it's been a wonderful partnership of, today's my anniversary of my 6 years being involved in it. So, thank you. I should get a trophy or something. I don't know.
Hopefully checks.
Yeah, everybody says that. Certainly his, the trending is less checks. The challenge is that the check trend goes down, but the fraud trend on checks goes up. But we've also seen an increase in ACH fraud, so that you're using the total package of fraud services. Admirable.
Yes.
Cash is definitely going down.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, Evan.
Okay, next we have Antonia Krapika Smith, Director, Council Bluffs Public Library. And it's a discussion and or decision to approve and sign proclamation designating the month of September as Library Card Sign Up Month in Potawatomi County.
So moved.
I have a motion by Belt and a second by Wickman to approve the proclamation for Library Card Sign Up Month. Whereas libraries are essential for the education and development of children, offering everything from preschool story times to college and career planning resources for high school students, nurturing literacy and a love for reading. Whereas libraries provide welcoming and inclusive spaces where individuals from all backgrounds can learn and connect, bridging cultural, ethnic, generational, and economic divides and strengthening the social fabric of their communities. Whereas libraries are committed to creating and maintaining diverse programs and collections that reflect the communities they serve, ensuring equitable access for all. Whereas libraries assist people of all ages in navigating life's complexities, offering access to research, information, and government services that enhance productivity and fulfillment. Whereas libraries boost the local economy by providing critical access to technology and training for job seekers, entrepreneurs, and students. Whereas during times of crisis, libraries and their staff play a vital role in supporting communities both in person and virtually. Whereas the shared resources provided by libraries help households save money, conserve resources, and reduce waste, offering a simple way to make a positive impact. Whereas a library card ignites creativity and empowers individuals to explore new interests and pursue lifelong learning. Whereas libraries uphold democracy by promoting civic engagement and the free exchange of information and ideas for all. Therefore, be it resolved that the Potawatomi County Board of Supervisors proclaim September as Library Card Sign Up Month in Potawatomi County, Iowa, and encourage everyone to sign up for a library card today. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
and Jorgensen.
Aye.
Nia, thank you very much for writing that proclamation and bringing it in today. And we have 5 libraries in the county, and Council Bluffs, of course, is closest and the largest, and you provide resources to the other libraries as well. And
Yes, I appreciate the proclamation and recognizing it. We serve the entire county with the funding that you provide. And recently we were at the Crescent Farmers Market. We helped out in Minden and have been supporting Minden while they rebuild. We've been in Trainer and Underwood and serving all of the surrounding areas with our services. So you just need a library card. Thank you.
Do you have a, kind of a breakdown of the zip code of those library cards? How many of the people come from outside of Council Bluffs?
We do. So it's on average between 4,000 and 5,000 county residents have cards with us.
What percent would that be of your total cards then?
Of our total cards, it's Our total card count is, including that, is just under 60,000. So it's a small percentage.
Okay.
But we do know that that makes a big impact for those residents. So we appreciate that.
So do they push those at the schools, you know, out there, the rural schools? Do they push the library? When I say push, I mean encourage the kids to get library cards?
Absolutely, yeah. So
Okay.
we do work with Trainer and we work with Underwood as far as schools. And then I know like Carrie works with, is that Riverside
Yeah.
out there? So she
Tri
works
Center.
at Tri-Center. I know that, Sabrina works with Tri-Center. So they all do work with their local areas. So yeah.
Are their cards good here too, then theirs?
They are. So we have reciprocal borrowing through the state of Iowa. So we do tend to sometimes see people come in other areas and come in and use, but that's through the state provides that. So
Even
yeah.
outside the county?
Even outside the county, yeah. So we do sometimes serve people from Missouri Valley. Now they need to have a card in Missouri Valley, but we will serve residents of Harrison or
Yeah.
Mills County as well. Yeah.
Okay. Not from across the river.
They have to pay. So if they go, if they're across the river, they can get a card with us, but they have to pay a fee. So.
Okay.
And sometimes they will. They prefer the services, that we can provide here in Iowa sometimes. So they will pay that annual fee.
Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully you'll have a rush of people coming in to get their library cards this month.
That or renewing, sometimes we have people renew every 3 years just to make sure they're still residents and they're still living here. We have the current information. So even if you have a card, it's a good idea to pause and make sure it's up to date. Matt was just telling me he just did that. So.
This to you. Thank you so much.
I'll scan that and get that together.
Libraries as well. Yes, and when you stop in and have you that scanned as well.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
You said renewal, but that else didn't even see a date on it.
It's whatever you find it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Lifetime.
because I didn't think it expired, but I guess it does.
All right, moving on. John Rasmussen, County Engineer, second consideration of ordinance number 2024-05, an ordinance to add chapter 7.7, restricting certain secondary roads for use by trucks and commercial vehicles. And we had the public hearing on this section last week. And I know several of us have fielded questions from residents since that time. Don, is there anything you want to add to this?
Also had questions, I guess, one concerning, ag traffic, which is exempt from the ordinance. And another one just about Berry Hill in that area, kind of a difficult intersection at Pioneer Trail, Wabash.
Make a motion to approve.
John, if I can. That, in this, ordinance, it says that they can be fined up to $400. They're subject to a fine of $400. Right?
Yes.
Right. How is that going to be collected?
There'll have to be a citation issued.
A county citation?
Yes.
It won't be a city?
No.
Or state or anything like that, right? I mean, if they travel on this road and they're pulled over on, a state highway, that ordinance still goes to the county? Right?
The ordinance is just on county roads. Yes.
Okay, so no funds go to the state.
That's more on the back end than my end, I guess, but
Okay. Well, since, we don't have a speed limit ordinance in Potawatomi County. So if our sheriff deputies pull somebody over on the highway, it's a state ticket, is that right?
The violation occurs on the state highway.
What if it occurs on a county highway?
There is a speed limit for county roads. It's in the code of Iowa.
So does those funds come to the county or they go to the state?
State code, we're writing on the state code.
Yeah, so that's what I don't want to have happen here. Because when somebody gets pulled over on a county road, the county should receive the funds from the ticket instead of the state, in my opinion. But we don't have that ordinance or that in our code. Anyway, that's what I wanted to make sure.
I mean, we could write that. I mean,
We could,
the city does that. I mean, with inside, I don't know, just Council Bluffs because you guys patrol it. But on all the farm to market and them roads, if we wanted to, I think it would be legal. I guess my legal experts are back there, but we should be able
I
to.
don't think so.
Why?
I don't think that counties and cities can write moving violations. That's
Yeah.
a state.
No,
Nope.
Council Bluffs does.
Nope. They have plenty of city ordinances, but it's public intoxication, disorderly conduct, simple
Red lights are
trespass.
moving violation.
What's that?
Red lights are moving violations.
That's the red light cameras. Those are civil infractions. Those are not criminal violations.
But they,
Speeding cameras, civil infractions, not,
but they collect the money. It doesn't go to the state.
red light cameras are not moving violations. They are civil infractions. They are not criminal, penalties.
so the county couldn't collect. Well, that's not.
This wouldn't be like,
Yeah.
would it? It would be a civil infraction.
You guys are talking about a county ordinance for something that is totally different than moving traffic violations. Those are criminal codes that are regulated by the state. State DOT controls, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into moving violations, which is why you do not see, like the city has a choice. Somebody gets busted for public intoxication, they could be written under the state code for public intoxication. They could be written under the city ordinance for public intoxication because cities and counties have the authority to file simple misdemeanors, but that is not moving violations. You can't have anything higher than simple misdemeanors, and honestly, I don't think you can have any moving traffic. Those are state code.
Okay, anyway, I wanted to make sure that if we have to find someone, now that your practice, I'm hoping is not going to be, if we have a violation, you're gonna work with them and make sure they correct it before you start fining people.
Yes.
And traffic is exempt. And we don't need a third reading for this. After today's vote, it goes to publication. I have a motion by Belt and a second by Jorgensen to approve the second consideration of ordinance number 2024-05. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Chairman Miller,
Aye.
Supervisors Belt,
Aye.
Wickman, and Jorgensen.
Aye.
Thank you. And next we have John Rasmussen, County Engineer, award bid and extend contract for project L-2025 WS-31 Materials Miscellaneous -78 to Husker Steel, Inc. in the amount of $14,788.80.
So move.
Second.
And these are all from the bids that we opened last week.
So the low bids from last week.
What was the, I think it's probably laying on my desk, but out of the, what is it, 4 bids? Was there at the total, at the end of the day, were we less than what you estimated? Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Yes, we were less. All the bids were under the estimate.
Yeah.
Grand
Okay.
total, like, I guess I didn't add up grand total, but right.
I got it here. Thank you.
And what was the location of this project
That
again?
was Washington 31 Bridge, so it's on Elm Tree Road over Silver Creek. Ran in maps for you last week and I didn't bring them this week, but it's.
No,
Yeah.
I got it. Tim got it.
A motion by Wickman and a second by Belt to approve the Husker Steel bid. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Next, for the same project, award bid and extend contract for project L-2025 WS-31 Materials-78 to Odin Enterprises, Inc. in the amount of $69,159.32.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Wickman and a second by Jorgensen to award the bid to Odin Enterprises. Is there additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. We move to award bid and extend contract for project L-2025 WS-31 deck materials-78 to Wheeler in the amount of $103,965.60.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Wickman, second by Belt to award the bid to Wheeler in the amount of $103,965.60. Additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. And the last one, award bid and extend contract for project L-2025 WS-31 beam materials-78 to Husker Steel, Inc. in the amount of $59,790.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Wickman, second by Jorgensen to award the beam materials bid to Husker Steel. Is there additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, John. All right. Next up, we have David Byer, Chief Information Officer, and Sam Arkfeld, Captain, Communications. Discussion and/or decision to authorize board chair to sign school district camera sharing agreements. Good morning. Thank you for coming in today.
Morning. So you have some agreements in front of you from various school districts throughout the county. Essentially, the agreement allows law enforcement personnel to view camera systems of those schools. The agreements are for the schools to opt in to allow us to view those cameras, us being law enforcement personnel, 911 personnel. No fees are part of this agreement. It's really just yes, we will allow you to look at our cameras in emergency situations. And so there's seven school districts that have decided to opt in at this point: Council Bluffs, Lewis Central, Riverside, St. Albert, Underwood, Trainer, and Tri-Center.
Have they all been contacted then?
Yes, they've all been contacted, and those are the ones that have replied at this point.
Some of the schools not have cameras.
They all have cameras. Some are not technically capable. Heartland Christian's not
Capable.
capable at this point.
That's okay, don't be uneasy. We don't have any liability for anything like this. We can only see what's going on in that school if they allow us, right? So once this agreement is signed, our 911 division has the authority to, at any time, pop in and take a look at a camera at a school. Is that how that's gonna work?
In the emergency situation, yes.
Only in an emergency situation.
We may also need to look at it just to make sure it's still functioning properly, to make sure it's still operating, but
Testing it.
yes.
But that would all be documented if someone's going and doing something not that they shouldn't be doing.
I would say we're not keeping a list, if that's what you're asking.
You're not what, Sam?
Keeping a list of every time we go into the system.
Isn't that all recorded, everything that you do down there?
We are not the custodians of these cameras
No, I understand, but,
and we're not recording them.
okay, so you're not gonna be recording when you go into it, you're just gonna be viewing. When you click into it, the recording's gonna stay at the school, you're just gonna view what's on the camera at that time. So you're not gonna be able to go back and look and see.
And I don't know if, which systems even allow that to go and look at historical stuff from that
And
camera.
speak up a little bit, would you please?
I'm not sure the systems that the schools have, if it allows us to look at historical video from that school, because again, we're not the custodian of those cameras. So if we need to look at something historical, we would probably reach out to that school and ask them if we could go back and look at something that happened a month ago with their guidance, because we don't have the software, we don't have those. It's just a
Right.
video feed coming into our.
Live, it's just a live
Yeah.
deal.
Yes.
And then, do we have any agreements with the college then on a similar deal?
At this point, they haven't replied, to this agreement.
Okay.
One more real quick question, Sam. You have the ability to view pretty much any camera that's, linked to your system and put it on your board and watch it, like the entrance to the courthouse, for example. Would you be able to put the school camera outside the front door of the school up on your screen and can continuously watch that?
We could,
Okay.
if that's a camera that they have, yes. I can tell you that that is nothing that we have any interest in doing. We have way too many other things going on to worry about monitoring a camera. like
No, I'm just
surveillance.
saying, if there was something that, an incident or something like that, you could zone in on that camera and make it live on your board.
We could.
Okay. Did you get a motion and a second on that, Susan?
I'll make a motion.
I'll say.
Motion by Belt, a second by Wickman, to authorize the chair to sign the school district camera sharing agreements. So this is for 7 districts today. Will there be others coming at additional meetings for the other remaining districts, or?
It's up to them. We've reached out multiple times. Reminded them, asking them, now that was granted, that was during the summer, which for school districts is not the best time to reach out to them. So we could get an email response saying, yeah, we would like to opt in, and I would bring those to you at that time.
So if our technology evolves, what that would be, it's amended, I guess. Theirs won't match up with it, then we'll expire the 2080 with them then, or?
Yeah, if the technologies don't interface, then certainly we wouldn't have a need for an agreement.
Did the school system, put in the Crescent School into their, system? Cause they opened that back up for,
I don't know specific schools, which school
Yeah.
have them, or.
I don't know what Council Bluffs School District is doing with that. My understanding, that was a Council Bluffs School District.
yeah, they opened it back up.
Okay.
Not for, teaching kids, but they're doing, baseball and basketball and golf and a bunch of things for the
I have no idea.
athletics. So,
We haven't seen the cameras yet, so
oh, you haven't,
we're waiting for the agreement.
for the school system?
Correct.
They had the one on North 8th Street, the Ann Nelson Daycare Center? No,
I don't know what schools have which cameras.
they got a lot of schools.
And it's up to them to provide us whatever cameras they want to provide us.
Okay. So you don't know what kind of load that puts on your system?
We haven't seen it. No.
Okay,
We're waiting for this agreement, And then we also have some technical stuff to take care of on the back end yet,
Okay. You're gonna let us know how it works out, then
if you'd like.
cross your fingers.
No cost to the county.
Correct.
Well, a little bit of cost because we're gonna be monitoring them if somebody pushes a button or something. We're doing that.
I'd say no cost to the county. There's resources are there that are already there. We're still gonna send first responders.
You still need more bodies, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, the resources ain't all there.
You are correct.
How many more you need? 6?
What do you say, Jeff?
Well, I'm all for security in all of our schools. Yes. Certainly not intrusion. I look at what happened in Georgia, for instance. Mother, that young man called in half hour before, that tragedy happened. These days and times, if you get an advance notice, things have to happen pretty quick. And this is probably one way to see that happen. I'm sure all for that.
All right, we got a motion by Belt and a second by Wickman. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Keep us posted, Lena, on that, if, how many schools you end up getting signed up.
Will do.
It's one of those things we never have to use.
Exactly.
All right, next we have Jana Limerick, Human Resources, on behalf of Maria Seek for Administrator Public Health, discussion and or decision to approve county funding for flu shots for part-time employees. Hi, Jana. Thanks for
Hello.
filling in.
Oh, you're welcome. On behalf of the Wellness Committee and Public Health, the county does offer flu shots annually to our employees, and it gets reimbursed by their insurance. So when an employee signs up to get a flu shot, they provide their insurance information, whether they have our insurance or not. Maybe they have insurance through a spouse or insurance someplace else. They still provide that information. But we do know for our part-time and temporary employees, they're not eligible for our benefits. They're not eligible for our insurance. Maybe they have insurance someplace else, but we like to encourage flu shots. It keeps our employees healthy, keeps them at work. And so we come to the board asking for if part-time and temporary employees come in to get their flu shots and it costs with the wellness committee more than $100, we're asking the board to pay whatever is additional. In the last, past participation, for part-time temporary employees, we usually have less than 10 that attend to get their flu shot. In 2023, we only had 1 that came to get their flu shot. The vaccines this year are set up for September 26th and 27th. And then Maria in Public Health will be working with Secondary Roads Department to get it set up for their area. Flu shots, the vaccine cost about $19.35.
What did you say, 19?
$19.35 each.
So is it not, because I just see the advertising on TV, is it not feasible to do the COVID shot too, or is that not recommended anymore?
Right now, we're only doing flu shots for employees, and if they wanted to do COVID shots, I don't know if public health offers that. Employees could reach out, but we're just focusing on flu shots only.
You know what the value on that one would be?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
So we did last year, just one shot.
Just one for a part-time employee.
Make a motion to.
Tim already got
You seconded it, so right, Johnson.
Yeah.
That a boy.
That's good. It's all right. Just thinking COVID struck me.
We have a motion by Wickman and a second by Bell to approve county funding for flu shots for part-time employees. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Yeah, when is the, I haven't had a chance to read that yet, but when is the sign up for, county employees to get their flu shot? That started yet?
An email went out today. I can't remember if it was about flu shots though, or if it was about the annual biometric screening, which we're not doing. Again, the flu shot clinics are September 26th and September 27th. If it wasn't in that all-employee email this morning, it's coming soon.
And the deadline for all of that health assessment is October 31st.
For the biometric screening, it's October 31st, yes. And if anyone is going to sign up for the flu shots, flu shots were included in that all-employee email or that all-employee announcement that went out this morning. So all of those details are in there, Tim. And we do just ask that employees for the flu shots take a look at that information that's needed and get that over as soon as possible before their appointment, such as copies of their insurance card and completing the form.
All right, signups to come next week.
Okay, great.
Right. Moving to Jana Limerick, Director, Human Resources, and Mitch Kai, Chief Financial Officer, discussion and or decision on funding request of $16,500 annually for GovInvest live compensation benchmarking software. And there wasn't anything in our packets about this, so what are we talking about?
There's a little bit of brief information into the GovInvest company. And then there's another page on there that includes, I think you already have that page, the cost. So GovInvest is a company that focuses primarily on the public sector, which we are. They provide a system that stores compensation data, which can include base pay, longevity pay, benefits, specialty pay, possibly uniform allowance. So it will house all of that information so that we have a fast and efficient way to go in and do benchmarking, right? We're going to be coming up on budget time. We're going to be coming up on union negotiation. And a question that's often asked is, well, what are our neighbors paying? Or what are like counties paying for this job? Or what do their benefits look like? This system would house all of that for us. And this system goes out and collects that data, keeps it in their system, and updates it every 6 months. The really exciting thing with this is that there's a group that's called IPELRA. It stands for the Iowa Public Employees Labor Relations Association. And this group is comprised of counties and cities that have unions, and they get together annually for trainings and updates with each other on who has unions open, what are your contracts looking like. So we all have an idea of what each other is doing. The good thing is that group has coordinated with GovInvest to pool all of their data and get a discount in pricing. So if you look at this page right here, the one that I typed up, not the one from GovInvest, these are all of the cities and counties that will be included in that data. There's 33 of them. And we'll have access to their data and they will have access to our data. They're very excited that we are considering joining. And by being part of this group, it does provide us a discount. Now, if we were to go through GovInvest on our own, we would get 10 comparators. We would get to choose 10. This is already giving us 33. And then we did ask GovInvest what it would look like to gather Douglas County data and Sarpy County data for us as well. So by joining with the IPELRA group, the cost would be $5,000 annually. The $5,000 is for base pay information only. If we wanted additional compensation data, which I would recommend, which includes benefits, longevity, specialty pay, that would be an additional $6,500 annually. And then to include Douglas County data and Sarpy County data, it's another $5,000 annually. So we're looking at a total of $16,500. This system would provide up-to-date reporting. We can run reports on specific jobs, departments, It really would provide a very fast and efficient way to compare our jobs to our peers.
Okay, couple questions.
Yes.
There's only, on here, there's only 7 counties.
Mhm.
The rest are cities, except for if you add Douglas and Sarpy.
Correct.
Then you're getting 9 county data. What, what, did they come and do a demonstration for you guys?
Mitch and I have seen it twice.
Online demonstration?
Yep. Yes, we've seen it.
Where are they from?
Who I checked on yesterday, California.
I'm not sure where they're located.
I think it's, unless I was looking at some other website, but I think it's somewhere in California.
So,
And so yes, they focus on public sector, not just Iowa.
do they do any analysis on the, I guess, I don't know how you want to say it, the equity of the community as far as their tax base and
No.
and
No,
population and that type of thing?
no. And that choice would be up to us to say, once we do that analysis, here's the county or the city we want as a comparator.
We can pull those out of there and compare to whoever we want to then?
Well, we can compare who we want to out of this list.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but we don't want really potentially compare to the city of Sioux City.
Yeah, that we would just, and so in the system, you can filter out of these, who do we want? And so we could take them out if we didn't want to utilize their data.
You have higher wage to ones that are more similar to us.
Yeah, this is in lieu of the compensation, right?
I'm sorry?
This is in lieu of the compensation board.
No, this has nothing to do with the compensation board because
Well, this, I mean, the compensation board
Yes,
is one way.
tool for us.
So counties are looking at this now? I mean,
well, counties are looking at this, but I don't want to tie this to the compensation board because I don't know that, I mean, we would hope elected official data is in here, but I don't know. So this is separate from the compensation board. So, right, because the compensation board only looks at elected officials' pay. This would be for all jobs within our county.
Not elected,
I don't know if elected information would be in here or not.
can
And that's,
we find that out?
Sure.
yeah.
And then,
And the elected ones are easy to find, that's all.
well, everything's public, all these people that are in these.
Yeah, but
It's
no
all public
elected
information.
officials don't have any specialty pay or longevity pay or
Right.
any of those other stuff. That's their basis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So,
I would certainly be willing to look at a company that would be willing to give us some advice on how to structure a pay. And, you know, it's beyond me. I'm not an economist by any means.
Well,
Oh, sure you are.
I wouldn't, so this company isn't giving us that sort of advice. This is the system that's housing the data.
Right.
We run the reports, and then Mitch and I would come to the board with a recommendation. Now, there is another platform to this software that would help with forecasting. Now, again, we're not gonna have, there's no consultant or advisor that directs us. It focuses on forecasting. It's a much higher additional cost. We don't think we need that right now. We'd really like to explore this piece of it first.
Can we talk to any department heads about using this?
No, but we do get questions all the time from department heads about, well, what are other people paying? And this would give us that information.
I know the sheriff's office always talks about the city of Omaha and they talk about.
They talk about Douglas County.
Sarpy County.
Douglas County, sorry, that's why I had them add that in here.
Jail, we're
Yep,
not-
jail
We're not
911.
ever gonna be able to
We won't, but this would,
chase them. I mean, it gives you a benchmark, I understand,
Yeah,
but it's just, it's apples and oranges for us. I mean, I wish that we could, but
Is this time sensitive?
well, it is time sensitive because the IPELRA group is starting their implementation with GovInvest. So they would send us a spreadsheet template where we would have to put all of our information in. So it will take time.
That's my question regarding those times and payroll amounts.
Mhm.
How is that gonna be a burden on payroll?
No, that I would do that. No, I would take
You'd-
care of that.
You'd be able to get all that data
Yes.
that payroll has
Yep.
and Tyler.
Yes, yep, I have access to it.
What's the drop dead date on this, Janet?
How about, what do you think, Mitch?
I mean, we probably should, next week, we should probably make a decision if you guys aren't willing to make one today. I mean, I would remind you that our current payroll for this year is $39.4 million. That is just wages. So, I mean, trying to have and compare that amount of wages to the $16,500 is pretty small in that scale of things. And really being able to grab some of these counties. And I would say not approve this if we don't go with the Douglas County and Sarpy County, because we want to have with those highs, so we know we're going to be less than those. Well, it just makes sense to have something that we can go to, even when the departments, like Janice said, come and ask us and say, hey, sometimes there's claims that other people are getting paid in other counties a lot more than they actually are. We can actually have the data that's, up to date within 6 months. So I think this is a really good program, and it's not tied to it's not a multi-year contract.
Right.
If this is a dud after the first year, we go, hey, that was not worth the investment. But I think as we get into budgeting, as we're setting up the system, we should something similar to this, and this seems like the best idea since it has so many Iowa cities and counties in it.
Well, I have some more questions I want to ask you guys before I'm ready to move forward. And, for instance, just as an example, I don't want to turn this into a 2-hour-long debate, but if you take a look at, let's just call it Marshall County, their laborer on secondary roads gets paid, $34 an hour. Our laborer in secondary roads gets paid $22 to start.
Right, this is hypothetical, you're saying,
Yeah.
right?
So job descriptions make a difference.
Yes.
So how are we tying the job descriptions of all of these other government entities into ours to make sure we're getting a real life picture of how people are being paid?
Everyone's job description is loaded in this system. So when we go to match our job, we're gonna read that job description, compare it with ours and make sure it's a match. We're not just gonna look at title, because title don't always tell you the right duties. So HR will take on that task of reviewing, is this a match?
Was the clerk one in Marshall County the same as the clerk one in Bott County?
We'd have to read the job descriptions and compare, but they're in the system. That's what this system is for. I don't have to reach out to Marshall County and get it. It's right here. All I have to do is log in, pull up Marshall County. It's right there. And then over here on the left side, if it matches, I'm gonna put a little check in that box. And then it's gonna pull the data over, compare it to ours, and create all these beautiful graphs and charts, which I think the board would really appreciate, this data. We're always looking to make our decisions on data. This gives it to us.
Aren't we still in the process of updating all of our job descriptions?
We are. Yep.
So if time's of the essence so that we can load ours in.
Yep.
We're not done.
Well, we'll load them as, we're still working with them as is. They're still active current job descriptions. We're just doing an annual review to check on them and see if any of them need to be updated. As they get updated, we load them in the system and then replace what's already in there.
And those other cities and counties are doing the same
Yep,
thing.
exactly.
Their job descriptions are.
Yep, yeah, their jobs, yeah, they're
pretty fluid.
exactly.
Is this something we can line a demo up and maybe do it at the department head retreat?
Well, I don't know that that's necessary because this would be a function of the Human Resources Department. So I feel that this is a request of Human Resources. I'm asking for it to come out of my budget. So this would be a system that Heather would be in, I would be in, Mitch would have access to it as well. I don't think it's a department head request, it's Human Resources request.
I would like to know who we're being compared to, though. I think the department heads need to review the job descriptions and who's being compared with who, in what counties. I mean, if they're 7 counties, I would be compared with.
And that's what the reporting is all for. Yeah, absolutely. That's what the reporting is
But
for.
I-
Oftentimes during
I don't even know where Marshall County, I hate to say it, where is Marshall County?
Northeast of Des Moines,
Northeast of Des Moines, what'd you say?
Marshalltown.
just east of Story County.
Susan, can I,
Somebody may
do we,
not have never checked it.
do we need to make a decision on this today?
I don't think so.
I like
got the
that.
packet. I'd like to see the demo. Or I'd like to at least do a little more research on my own.
What other information can I provide to the board?
I would like to be able to do that too, Susan. Put together some questions, take a look at it, make sure we're covering everything. You know, I don't want to send a message to the employees of Potawatomi County that this is a exercise similar to the one that happened, I don't even know, 5 or 6 years ago that was very, very, very popular with the employees. So I like it much.
Well, this isn't a Baker Tilly thing, but whenever, I'm good for 1 year, so.
I'm good.
Doing the same thing.
No.
It's information we.
Sure it is. Okay, we can disagree on that.
No, I don't. Contact
Baker
those
Tilly
other counties.
knows this way I'm supposed to.
There's gonna be more counties added to this list.
There very likely will be more counties
We
added,
we had
yes.
a discussion at ISAC, there's a lot of counties out there that don't know how they're gonna move forward. with
A lot of counties aren't gonna have HR directors.
Well,
They're gonna have $1,650, $16,000 either.
Jesus, you look at Page
Right.
County and Ringgold and.
Right. But what
They
I'm
have
saying is,
They
a
share
county of our
county
size,
attorneys.
with our amount of employees, we need some advice, like, and, whatever Scott says, I am not an economist, and I don't think the five of us are here to take on, all the research, all the things that have to happen, to backgrounds and stuff on how
Is
to.
there a way to set up a Zoom call with Dallas or Story County and they could give Susan a demonstration
Well,
on?
no, they aren't gonna give us a demonstration of their software. And remember, they're just starting this, so they all have
Oh,
to get
okay.
their
They're
information.
not in yet.
The demo will be with GovInvest.
Okay.
Yeah,
You got a guy in Dallas County.
Well, yeah,
I mean, they've all
they're
made,
signed up. I mean,
Yeah.
they'd be the same stage we are, just getting
Oh, okay.
trying to get all the information loaded up, because this is new. It's all of us trying to get all of our information and data in one spot, so we all can use it as just resources really to research. And, as to John's point too, is, hey, if we put the comparisons together, we can say this is a job description from this county compared to ours. And then, if ours has extra duties, that would justify being more than that county. So,
I'd be willing to try this for 1 year.
That's what I'm doing.
That's what.
And you don't know that those 33 entities are signed up with IPELRA for 5,000. Are they also paying the 6,500 for the other benefits, longevity pay and? Yeah, you don't know.
that I don't know, but if we pay the 6,500 for that information, GovInvest will go get that information and we will have access to it.
They will be able to get it from those other counties?
100%.
It's all public information.
Well, and that's what these types of companies do. I mean, there's multiple companies out there that
But
do
they
this.
would, but if they were paying the 5,000, they wouldn't have access
Correct,
to longevity specialty pay.
right. They would have to pay that additional as well. And so that $5,000 is the IPELRA rate for the base pay.
Right.
I mean, this would be costing us more if we weren't part of that.
But if you wanted, but if Dallas County just signed up to 5,000 for base pay, but you wanted to know more.
Yep.
GovInvest would be able to fetch that from Dallas County.
Yes, sir, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Their tax base is
They're not on it. They're not on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
they
we can
are.
afford to pay.
Yeah, well, this is. something to look at. So we gonna put it on next week then?
I'd like to.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Pardon?
What is the pleasure of the board?
come up with some questions and hopefully get them answered. Do you want a demo, Susan?
I want to look more into it. I want to, when you talk about inputting our job descriptions into it, to me, that sounds like we need to put it into a certain format.
Yep, they would send it over.
And that would get clunky and time consuming. And
It's clunky and time consuming, right? There's a speed bump. We gotta get over that speed bump and then all of the information is there. All these other counties are doing that exact same process. That's what these systems are. It, I don't think it would take as long as you would think. It's a lot of copy pasting. You know, we have the job descriptions already, that HR would take care of that piece. Yeah, implementation is always time consuming, but then after implementation is done, then it's pretty smooth sailing.
I'd like to do more research. And we could put it back on the agenda for next week. I don't think it's gonna. Somebody wants to make a motion to do something different.
Next week, I guess, start work, you gotta start doing the work that you need to get doing.
Well, I can't start doing any work with GovInvest until we,
Right, but you got your job description.
no, I won't get their format, how they want all the data
Oh,
until we are finished with this process, the board approves to pay, then GovInvest will send me their template and then I'll start gathering all the information. So no, yeah, sorry, I wouldn't be able to do that.
okay.
Maybe we can touch base with our department heads and let them know the direction you'd like to go.
If that's what the board would like, sure.
All right, moving to committee appointments. Jeff, anything you wanna?
I was at the VA Veterans meeting yesterday and some issues. They have, people coming in using the building. FEMA was in there, the VFW now, their organization is in there meeting. I don't know how often they meet, but, it's causing a little bit of problems for the VA veteran services themselves. So they're gonna have a meeting, with, the VFW commander, to outline what they can do, what they shouldn't be doing, moving seats and chairs around, that kind of thing all the time. And I told them that if you meet with the commander, then they would ask at least one or more of us supervisors to be at that meeting too. So I said I'd be there. So that's where it's at right now. Other than that, that's it.
That's pretty much written in that agreement that we have with them. I mean, what, I guess it's.
Well, it's,
is there a new, is there a
put it
new,
this way, somebody got out of control.
is there a new commander?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yes, somebody.
I can't imagine FEMA was much of, that was arranged through Doug.
They're glad FEMA is out of there, that's for sure.
Okay. FEMA was a bad, tenant? Oh, sounded like they only had one or two people come in and see them, so.
Let's put it this way, that the issue was when FEMA left the space a certain way, and then the VFW came in with their meeting and found it was a certain way, that's when they got upset.
Oh,
Tables were moved or something?
Yeah, and it sounded like it was more of an issue than I thought it would have been. But anyway, they're gonna have a meeting with the VFW.
good.
I know, John, you're looking at putting procedures together.
Touch base with them and see what some of the heartburns are.
Touch base with who?
Our room, there's lots of folks that want to use our room, so we're trying to write a policy for that.
Oh,
We can avoid some of the VA problems. Oh, better. Okay, anything else?
Okay.
All right, Tim?
No.
Yeah,
Should have, something, I can't remember what it is. Sorry.
okay. For the Assessors Conference Board, we're meeting on September 18th, where we will appoint a new county assessor. We've got the retreat September 19th. And then the state of the county with the CB chamber. And what I envision for the state of the county will be similar to what we did the town hall at Oakland. Just have all of the department heads give an update on what their departments are doing currently.
Oh.
So
Does that
I,
include me?
well, we can exempt you, Melvin.
Well,
we don't have a lot of time there,
Well,
Susan,
say we
so,
don't have near the time.
you may wanna reconsider that, maybe bring in a few departments instead of all of them.
Well, they want to give them all the chance.
Just tell them they got 3 or 5 minutes. Might be able to get through.
yeah, but that was,
Just an overview.
What?
And you're just talking about elections, all you.
What?
Just 3 private departments.
Yeah,
Pardon?
we won't include EMA.
5 departments, yeah, we don't, I'm with you. Won't be
so if I'm expected to go, am I supposed to register?
What was that?
What, yeah, you're supposed to register for,
For the state of the county?
right?
Yes.
You still need to register even though if you're invited to speak.
If you want to go to attend, still need to register, so we get a plate for you to set. All right. I think we're ready to move to public comments. Did anyone sign up today? No?
Public comment was, that guy thought that resolution was gonna pave his road. John,
With that,
Who was our videographer in?
Susan, I'll make a motion to go into closed
Chapter
session
3.
pursuant to Iowa Code, chapter 21.5, parent 1, parent I, for discussion and decision on personnel matters.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Wickman, second by Belt to go into closed session. Melvin, will you call the roll, please?
Kevin Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Belt.
Aye.
And Wickman.
Aye. And then Susan.